Not true. That's what
Can you name a single Democrat in Congress who's more popular than Donald Trump right now?
Well, it actually happened. One of the largest and most embarrassing meltdowns we have ever seen just came from Democrats. So in this video, we will go over that meltdown, and we will also go over some of the other crazy meltdowns leading up to Donald Trump doing his congressional speech and speaking to Americans. So before we start this video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you can help this channel, and it helps others see the videos as well. Let us begin.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
Not true. That's what
You literally can't make this up. All of a sudden, a bunch of Democratic senators were caught saying and doing the same exact thing on camera while responding to Donald Trump. The senators were making claims that this economy is not doing well, etc., etc. However, they all got busted saying the same exact thing. You want to talk about why people are not voting for Democrats and why there's a lot of questions within the Democratic Party? It's things like this. This is by far the biggest Democratic meltdown we have ever seen in a long time.
J.D. Vance owes Zelensky an apology. President Trump owes Zelensky an apology for the way he was treated.
For what?
I demand it. What? I demand that they give
you demand. Okay.
Now again, I'm making this video right before Donald Trump speaks to Congress in the United States, but it should be noted Zelensky said the Oval Office meeting was regrettable. So despite all of the criticism, despite all of the hate, even though the majority of Americans want this war to end, it turns out Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were correct this whole time, and Zelensky actually wants to make the peace deal now.
Are being hurt
I can't
by
wait.
labor that shouldn't be here.
I can't wait until American women can't get blueberries for their smoothies. I cannot wait until there is a full crackdown on all small businesses, as if that's going to be the solution to the immigration problem.
Now, that clip went super viral because of how ridiculous that argument was. However, this opened up an opportunity for the Trump administration to debunk one of the largest myths we have all been told. Check out this clip.
Only 1% of alien workers in the entire country work in agriculture. The top destination for illegal aliens are large cities like New York, like Los Angeles, and small industrial towns, of course, all across the heartland, as we've seen with the Biden floods. None of those illegal aliens are doing farm work. Those 30,000 illegal aliens that Joe Biden dumped into Springfield.
I'm talking about the ones that are.
But I'm explaining this. It's important to understand.
No, you're kind of changing the subject. I mean, I'm talking about the ones.
That clip right there is a pivotal moment for the Trump administration on debunking statistics. Ever since that clip came out, not once could I find anybody on television, CNN or MSNBC, try to talk about who's going to work on the farms, because it turns out the statistic is overinflated. That was a massive moment for Stephen Miller and the Trump administration.
What was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad.
Unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it.
You want to talk about some significant moments leading up to Donald Trump's congressional speech? All of a sudden, you have Rachel Maddow from MSNBC calling out her own bosses because Joy Reid got fired. Then you have the ex-press secretary for the White House under Joe Biden also turning on Democrats. We are seeing this common theme of Democrats turning on Democrats and willing to be a little more transparent of what's going on behind the scenes.
You're tired of the waste? You want me to fix
But
this?
they didn't vote to have Elon Musk rooting through their data. But my point is something different. My point is ultimately, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Joe Biden or you're Donald Trump. If people don't feel like you have materially made their lives better, if people don't feel like you got inflation down or costs down, you will pay the price. And the people who pay the price are the Republicans who are up in the midterms.
It was funny that he said, yes, I'm going to cut government, I'm going to cut waste, I'm going to cut fraud, you know what else he said? He was going to cut prices. That hasn't happened. That's not something.
You want that in 4 weeks?
In 3 weeks he could fire
got rid of the whole
75,000 people. Right?
Do you think it is a legitimate political debating point for the previous administration to have overseen historic inflation over 4 years, and then you to come out and say, 4 weeks, I guess Trump's a failure. Let's
He
move
said
on.
on day one, I will lower your grocery prices, and he has not done it. And prices have gone up.
On your point, I agree with you that the ultimate measurement of him will be on whether people feel less economic anxiety. I disagree that he hasn't done anything. A lot of his executive orders were aimed at energy, which is, I think, the fastest thing he can do.
Although energy prices are going up.
Energy regulations. But really, what he does now over the next couple of months with the Congress, I mean, his real agenda will come in the reconciliation bill. Taxes, energy, immigration. I mean, the stuff he really ran on, that's where the real policy rubber hits the road. And he's going to have to get these guys in Congress to go along with him. And they're obviously, working on it right now. But if they cannot get that done, that will be a problem. But I think they'll get there.
By the way, Elon Musk has no executional mandate. He can he's unique. He's got his own internet.
I would actually, you know what? I'd just like you to show that you give a damn. That you got a little emotion about the fact that people are losing their jobs indiscriminately. That this individual sitting down at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has given absolute power to one man who brings his son into the Oval Office, whose son says to him, "You're not the president. You shouldn't be in that chair." Now, where did he get that from? He got it from his daddy.
Elon called me. He said, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. No, they said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, it's just so obvious.
Now look, it goes without saying that one of the largest topics or fighting points that Democrats have is going after Elon Musk as an unelected official, or he's creating a constitutional crisis. You can leave your comments down below how you feel about all of this, but when you look at the polls and the statistics, Americans really don't seem to mind what Elon Musk is doing as far as uncovering everything that Doge is uncovering.
Fat like a chicken. All of these agencies are like big fat chickens dripping over barbecues of fat. This is the best barbecue I've ever seen, but I don't think it's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing, keep hacking while you have a 24-month mandate before the midterms.
Here's Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and a handful of 22-year-olds saying, no, we think we're just going to find another way to shut it down. It's not only not legal and not popular.
Again, we have debunked this over and over again on this channel. It's actually quite popular. That is why Donald Trump's popularity has gone up. In fact, as I make this video, I am willing to bet his popularity is going to go up even more, considering Zelensky now really wants to talk peace, and that will be the first promise Donald Trump has made or kept. He wants to end the war in Ukraine, and people are happy about that. Now, this next clip might be one of the most viral clips we have seen so far in 2025. A CNN news anchor did not know that Donald Trump is in charge of the military.
Seriously, do we have to give you a civics lesson that we have? I don't know we put all power in the executive branch, the legislative branch, the FBI. Now we're in control of the military. We're silencing media. This is what you do in a dictatorship.
Are you suggesting that the president is not the commander-in-chief of the military?
I am suggesting that the president is going to put in charge somebody who is going to contravene the Constitution. And at some near point, this conversation will look very silly for you because it will be obvious. And right now, you're gaslighting. But when we get to the actual rubber of the road of this, it will be clear.
I'm interested in this conversation. He's going to put someone in charge who will contravene the Constitution. Like, who? What do you mean by that? The president is in charge of the military, is he not? You said he's going to put someone in charge of the military?
The president is in charge of the military.
Man, I almost feel bad playing that clip, and I apologize how long it is, but I had to give you the full context. That clip went so viral that even Joe Rogan and Elon Musk talked about it on the Joe Rogan Experience to give you an idea of how viral that clip went, and that really skyrocketed Scott Jennings really into more fame. Scott Jennings right now might be the most popular conservative news pundit, and ironically enough, he's on CNN.
The only difference is they never do it. You've had presidents from both parties say, I'm going to make the government smaller. I'm going to go in and look at the bureaucracy and make it more efficient. I'm going to trim where I can, trim the fat. No one ever does it. Reports are written, committees meet, people have phone calls, press conferences are held, and nothing ever happens except the government gets larger and larger. Lo and behold, Donald Trump shows up and throws out the sledgehammer, the instrument of destruction, Elon Musk, to actually do it and do it at lightning speed. This is precisely what voters have been demanding.
Again, you want to talk about a Republican powerhouse trying to shut down all of the false narratives towards Donald Trump? Scott Jennings goes all in when he talks on CNN. And again, I have to give credit to CNN for allowing Scott Jennings to say what he wants to say.
Okay, can we just address this dictator business? I'm going to quote from some statistics put together. So our old friend Chris Cillizza, who calculated that in the first month of the Trump administration, the president took 1,009 questions. Hardly dictatorial behavior. Same stat for Joe Biden, 141. And I would remind you all that in 2023, the Biden administration revoked the hard passes of 442 journalists. And at the time, the White House Correspondents Association took, quote, a non-committal stance.
Republicans on the Russia-Ukraine war, look at this, want a quick end of the war, but Russia still keeps the captured land from Ukraine. Look at this. Look at the majority of Republicans. 74%, three-quarters of Republicans, near unanimity on that particular subject, compared to just 25% who say that they support Ukraine's fight, even if it means a longer-lasting war.
Now look, if we are going to be intellectually honest, if there's one statistic that Donald Trump could get dinged on leading up to his speech, it definitely has to be overall, people want to see a little bit more for the consumer needs, like the eggs, gas prices, home ownership, things like that. We all know that Donald Trump has massive investments coming in, but again, this will impact the Americans later down the road. People want impacts now. I know this all takes time. I'm just trying to give an equal and fair, balanced report going into this speech.
Multiple things can be true. Number one, you can believe and know that Russia is the aggressor and that Vladimir Putin is a bad guy. Number two, you can also believe and know realistically that political will in this country to continue to fund an open-ended conflict is draining rapidly. And number three, you can also believe all those things and also that Zelensky made a mistake on Friday. And I'll throw in number four, that Donald Trump is a new player on the field. He's a new broker here. He campaigned on ending this war. He knows that it's highly unlikely that Congress is ever going to appropriate another dollar for Ukraine. That's why peace now is vital. He tried to get Zelensky to bind the Ukrainians closer to the United States than ever with a mineral deal. Zelensky couldn't bring himself to just say thank you and do it on Friday. Now we're in bad shape on it, but I do think Trump means it when he says, I want peace now. The political reality is there's never going to be a moment where Vladimir Putin says, hey, I'm taking the knee. I lost. I'm going away with my tail between my legs. You've got to come up with a solution that gives both guys a chance to save face. I think that's what Trump's trying to do.
Now, one thing I don't understand is how the war in Ukraine became a Republican versus Democratic issue when at the end of the day, we should all unite as Americans when it comes to something this serious. However, this statistic definitely might be the worst news for Democrats. It turns out the majority of Americans actually favor how Donald Trump is handling this conflict. And again, as I make this video leading up to the speech, it turns out Zelensky also wants this peace deal.
Joe Biden, so this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on. He's at +2. So look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And so on this simple question, I think Americans are saying, okay, Donald Trump's doing all right on this.
And you want to talk about something else that's insane? Donald Trump, once again, another promise has been made. It looks like BlackRock to buy Hong Kong firm's Panama Canal port stake amid Trump pressure. Essentially, this means that BlackRock, an American company, will control both sides of the Panama Canal. And as you guys all remember, Donald Trump kept saying we need to take back the Panama Canal. Now, of course, Donald did say maybe we'll use military force, but in this case, we used business to control the Panama Canal. This, again, is a massive win.
Donald Trump gave Ukraine javelins.
When
Obama gave them blankets. I get it. I get the talking point.
You can denigrate it,
I get
but
the
it's
talking
true.
point, but what I'm talking about
No,
is
the missiles are real things,
support
not
for
talking
Ukraine in this conflict. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump have both been, I would say Trump has been skeptical. Vance has been outright opposed. So do you acknowledge that Zelensky has thanked the United States?
He has on occasion.
Dozens of occasions.
But I will also point out.
Dozens of occasions.
Now, the final point I want to make, for some reason, we all forgot that Donald Trump actually donated a significant amount of money and supplies for preventative measures to help out Zelensky and Ukraine. For some reason, a lot of people seem to forget that happened. However, Zelensky did bring it up and said, yes, it's true, Donald Trump did help us. So for like the first time ever, we are getting legit confirmation, and we are hearing that it turns out Donald Trump actually is Team Zelensky and is Team Ukraine. Anyway, if you are still watching this video, I am posting this right before the speech, and if you are watching it after, it's okay because all of this is still very relevant. Thank you so much for everything. We still have a lot more work to do, and we'll see you guys later. Peace out and God bless.